Today, Joby SK is going to have a phenomenal round in the Skorpion. He's going to be taking on a 1 versus 6, and we're going to see how it turns out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, LadPad, and welcome to yet another epic replay. Now, one thing to note before we really get into the meat of this replay, unfortunately this is an older replay and some of the sound is corrupted, so the Skorpion is not going to be making any sound from its engine. I haven't figured out a way to fix that, but we will deal with it as we can. Today, Joby is playing in the Skorpion. There are actually two of these. There's the Skorpion G and the Skorpion, and this is just the regular one. This is one of the most popular tanks in the entire game, and there is pretty good reason for it. The Skorpion has a huge gun. This 128mm hits for 490 average damage and is one of the best guns at tier 8 if you want to shoot at long range. It is very accurate, and the statistics definitely back that up, although I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that this tank just does feel like it hits fewer shots. A lot of shots dive into the dirt unexpectedly, and you could say perhaps that's because this tank's bloom on the move is huge, and so you really have to fully aim your shots. However, once you do fully aim, you can see how tight and how small that aiming circle is, and it allows the Skorpion to hit a ton of shots at range. The gun's damage and its accuracy is not the only great thing about it. It is also wonderfully fast, and really what you have is a very, very mobile platform that has good damage per minute, that has great accuracy, that has very, very strong alpha damage, and it allows you to do a lot of different things. Joby has come to one of my favorite sniping spots on Malinovka. He's come down to this bottom section where he's got a lot of cover from all these bushes, and he's able to shoot anything that pops up on the hill. This allows him, with anybody who's unwisely pushing a little too far forward trying to get some flanking shots onto the hill, this allows him to wallop them with some alpha damage, and this is where alpha damage is so important. Damage per minute is not super incredible when you're only putting in shots one by one. Beautiful blind shell right there. The heavy tank actually went blind. He went dark, and Joby fired before he was spotted up again. However, we did see it get spotted once again, and so we know that that shell hit. Now, as I was saying, damage per minute on some of these encounters does not matter as much because you're not going to be firing constantly. Instead, you need to be able to put in shells accurately and one by one. And so alpha damage is just key right here. The accuracy allows him to wallop that Iron Arnie, and that's going to be a key kill because that's a very dangerous tank. And this is one of the big situations where, especially as a tank destroyer, it is often so much more important to hit hard once than to hit small many times. If you're in just an all-out brawl, then you'll absolutely want damage per minute. DPM will be king there. But if you're getting in these shells one by one, then alpha damage is exactly what you need. Joby has not been firing on reload. We're actually already 4 minutes into this replay, and he's only up to 2,700 damage, which is a great result. However, it's not even close to what he's going to be doing throughout the rest of this replay. And through 4 minutes, he only had, let's say, 5 or 6 opportunities to hit any enemy tanks, and so the alpha damage allows him to maximize what he had. That accuracy and the alpha damage maximizes what he was capable of in those situations. Something like you could say TVP 100 on the enemy team, it's not going to be able to do as much with those scenarios because its alpha damage is a paltry 250. Something like an ISC 152 has incredible alpha damage, 750, but it's not going to hit the shells reliably, and so this is where the Skorpion really balances those two sides wonderfully. It hits hard and it hits accurately, and this mobility allows you to relocate as you need. Joby's just putting in shot after shot after shot, now up to almost 4,000 damage, and you'll notice that the score is relatively tied. The health is very equal. The teams were equal, however, now it's back to 8-8 with that TVP dying, and everything looks great. You might be wondering, why does the title include that 1v6? and it's because things are about to go very, very poorly. A Barask is on the enemy team. The Barask is one of the best vehicles you could possibly be in a matchup like this. The Barask has incredible camo values, and so it will allow that Barask to hunt around and hopefully, at least for the enemy team, outspot anything it comes across. And as a spoiler warning, that Barask is going to be able to help lead his team to a lot of different kills. Right here, a pretty typical Malinovka, we'll say, scenario has occurred. One team has won the hill. Because the hill has been won, ooh, beautiful shell right there. Because the hill has been won, everybody on the other team, on the opposing team, has fled back to the forest, Joby included, and now everybody's camping in the forest. And with the cap being pressured by the enemy team right now, there is a time limit on how long Joby's team can stay here. The enemy team is getting a little antsy, unwisely. With the score so incredibly tight right now, it would be much better, much wiser to just hold into their positions and not to get frisky or aggressive. Instead, they're hunting for shots. They're trying to do what they can. That allows Joby to put in yet another shell, and that's got him up to 4 kills and 4,800 damage. Also notice that Joby has been firing APCR this entire time, and he is about to run out of these shells. Now, on the enemy tank, there's really nothing with armor, so that won't be a concern. But these APCR shells do fly about 200, I believe, 200 millimeters per second faster. They're much better for sniping because they travel much more quickly, and so running out of these will make sniping much more difficult. That is one of the hidden benefits of a huge number of premium shells. When the premium shells fly faster, then you've got a better opportunity to take advantage of your opponents at long range. Shell velocity is one of those statistics that a lot of people don't think about very often, but it's absolutely key to hitting a lot of rounds accurately. A T-25-2 is flanking Joby's team and manages to help, I think, outspot the M44, and our friendly artillery does get shut down. Really important shell right there into the Barask. That Barask is the best spotting tank on the enemy team, and because this is Malinovka, spotting is key. Spotting is more important than anything else. Now, the CS-52 lease on Joby's team manages to get a reset, which is awesome, but he dies for it. And with the M40, M43 getting shot as he dies in just a moment, this is going to leave Joby momentarily in a 1 versus 6, which he immediately turns into a 1 versus 5. An artillery shell narrowly misses, and that is very important, because the one aspect we did not talk about with the Skorpion is the fact that the Skorpion has some of the worst armor at high tiers in the entire game. This thing is just an HP pinata because it's so easy to penetrate with HE shells, and amazingly, Joby does not get spotted for that. The Barask is coming in. Joby's praying that he can reload quickly enough. This Barask is looking around. Perhaps he saw him at that last moment. However, the Barask does get shot down. Joby did 100%, I believe, the damage on that Barask, and now a heavy tank number 6 is putting rounds into Joby's tank. Joby manages somehow to bounce a 40 TP, I believe, off of the tracks, absorbs it that way, and now he's hunting. Where was that heavy tank that shot him earlier? He gets spotted. He's now in a precarious situation. He gets penetrated by HE, and whoa! Oh, that was the most important shell of the game. The Skorpion is not great at shooting on the move. That reticle was quite large, but thankfully that shell ends up going straight, and Joby manages to survive in a scenario where if he had missed that heavy tank number 6 would have had the reload advantage, and he would have died. Now, unfortunately, Joby does miss the shell, but I love what he's doing right here. He's backed up behind the trees, so he goes forward, he manages to get the spot off, then he's behind these trees. They're no longer transparent, and so now he can put in the shell without fear of being spotted. And now what was a 1 versus 6 is now a 1 versus 1, and Joby needs to hunt down artillery. Not only is he in contention for the Kolobanovs, not only does he definitely have a high caliber at this point and a top gun, he's now pursuing not just the Radley Walters, but he's got a chance with one more kill to knock out a Pools medal, and you do not see many Pools medals nowadays. It's just so hard to get 10 or more kills. And so Joby, with 4.5 minutes remaining on this game, just needs to pray that the artillery does not see him. The Skorpion does not have excellent view range, and so there's a high likelihood that GW Tiger P will spot him before Joby spots the artillery, just because the artillery was stationary and Joby will be on the move. He's got only 8 shells remaining in his tank, more than enough, and the GW Tiger P is facing away. Joby finishes up that kill and completes the Kolobanovs with a Pools medal. What a cracking round with some great plays from our hero. Let's take a look at the post-game results. Joby SK has just a cracking round. He's got a whole slew of battle hero awards. He's got the Top Gun, the Tank Sniper. His accuracy was phenomenal. He aimed very well, only had really one poor shell, I think, through that entire game. He gets the High Caliber and the Pools medal for 10 kills. He gets the Pascucci's medal, which is always a great one. Anytime you're able to kill multiple clickers in a battle is just a fantastic round by any means. And of course, he gets perhaps the best medal in the game, the Kolobanov's medal, which is where you face 5 enemy tanks as you're the last one on your team alive. And not only did Joby have a Kolobanov's medal, he faced 6 enemy tanks, not 5, and came away victorious. Moreover, it does not seem that any of those tanks were AFK, and so this is a true Kolobanov's, and so epic replay by Joby. Joby, of course, is top on XP, 1,724 base, and notably, only 2 players on his entire team did 1,000 damage or more, meaning this was just the ultimate carry. I believe Joby did more damage than anybody on his team, and of course, more than anybody on his team combined together. This is just an ultimate carry. Shout out to the Panzer, or to the Patton, who ended up with 2,000 damage, to the Barask, who did 2,000 damage and 1,300 spotting. And take a look at this heavy tank number 6, who came so close to carrying the game for his team. If our hero manages to miss that shell, if RNG sends that shot just a little bit to the side, then this heavy tank number 6, let's go SG Pista, would have had been the tier 6 hero in this tier 8 game, and unfortunately came just a little bit close. Of course, Joby makes an excellent profit. He makes 50,000 credits. He did fire an enormous amount of premium ammunition, but when you're playing tier 8 premium tanks, you're liable to get a ton of cash, especially if you hit your shells. And with 23 shots fired, 20 hits, and 20 penetrations, that is definitely going to pay for your ammunition cost. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching yet another replay, and lad out.